Tonight on KGW News, swallowing up the sand, why parks officials say an Oregon landmark has suddenly become a whole lot more dangerous. Plus,
it's like a really big change for us.
Because it's been 70 years with no self-serve allowed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn.
So when it comes to the pump in Oregon, do you still have options? Then resources ramp up.
We'll continue to put every available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan.
How some have long been raising red flags about this sub as hope enters its final hours. And we begin tonight with big changes at the pump. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. After 7 decades, Oregonians are a signature away from being able to pump their own gas whenever they want. And if for whatever reason you are so not into self-serve, as Catherine Cook shows us, when you go to fill up the tank, yes, you're still going to have options.
Oregonians are pumped.
We've been not pumping our gas for a pretty long time, so it's like a really big change for us.
Lawmakers Wednesday pushed House Bill 2426 through the Senate with bipartisan support. It gives all Oregonians the option of pumping their own gas for the first time since 1951. Back then, gas was 27 cents a gallon. And moments like this,
I don't know how to pump my own gas.
Priceless.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to learn.
Change can be hard.
Sometimes I do get lazy, so I want people to pump my own gas, so I think it's gonna make me have to get out of the car and pump my own gas.
But only if she wants to. If signed into law, the bill won't eliminate attendance. Gas stations must keep half their pumps available for attendants to serve customers who want help. And stations can't offer discounts to customers who pump their own gas.
I really don't see any negatives with this.
Gabriel Zirkle is VP of WSCO Petroleum. They own 50 gas stations in Oregon and Washington. He says many have been struggling to keep their stations staffed. He hopes allowing customers to pump their own gas will give them flexibility to do more with less.
Any plans to lay off any employees because of what this bill will change?
No, we don't. We actually plan on continuing to hire more. I've got a for hire sign at every one of my locations. If you want a job, come see me.
Fred Simmons is an attendant at this Chevron near PSU. He says when they're short-handed, many customers want the option to help themselves.
It will help. And even still, when it's busy and they impatient, they'll get out and do their own anyway.
In 2017, Oregon lawmakers agreed to let the public pump their own gas at night in rural and coastal counties. And over the last 3 years, Oregon's fire marshal has allowed that freedom during wildfires and heat waves. So perhaps the time has finally come for this. But can it be done?
48 other states have proven that we can do it in a safe and effective manner.
Apparently so.
I believe in us. We can do this, guys. If Governor Kotek signs the bill, which she's expected to do in the near future, New Jersey will be the only state restricting drivers from pumping their own gas. David.
You know what? I guess they are staying stubborn in the Garden State. I know, you know what? I know some folks are excited, you included. They might be more excited if gas was 27 cents a gallon, right? But when is this going to kick in?
Well, the bill includes an emergency declaration, so as soon as there's a signature, it takes effect right away.
Yeah, I mean, 71, 72 years, what's another few days, right?
Yep.
Thanks, Catherine. All right, well, Oregon drivers may or may not be ready for the change. Washington drivers can't be very happy. That is because gas there is now the most expensive in the nation, pushing California out of the top spot. Wow, that is an award that nobody wants to win. Right now, the average for regular is $4.93 in the Evergreen State. The national average, by the way, stands at $3.58. Oregon is above that average, but below Washington at $4.58. Let's head back to Salem for a moment, where a few more major bills were passed today. House Bill 2002 will provide stronger abortion rights and require insurance to cover gender-affirming care. It also includes a change that came about as a compromise between Democrats and Republicans that requires parental permission for abortions for those 15 and younger. It also allows a medical professional to bypass parental consent if they reasonably believe the child is unsafe at home. All right, lawmakers also passed a new gun regulation bill. Although it was substantially watered down, the bill will only outlaw untraceable ghost guns. It does not include raising the age from 18 to 21 for purchase or possession. It also scraps a push by Democrats to give cities the right to ban concealed carry weapons in public buildings. Let's go to the North Atlantic now, where more rescue vessels join the search for a missing submersible in an area that is roughly twice the size of Connecticut. Now, last night, the Coast Guard said a Canadian plane detected underwater noises in the search area, and while they have moved assets around, they are still calling those noises inconclusive. Officials say they believe the 5 people aboard the Titan, which went missing on Sunday, will run out of breathable air in about 5 hours. Canadian air crews say they have a recompression chamber on a ship so they could immediately try to save anybody who's been exposed to deep ocean pressures. That is assuming the sub, which was on its way down to the wreck of the Titanic, that sits at a depth of 13,000 feet, is still intact. Underwater acoustics experts also caution the noises they heard last night may also be heavy ship traffic or even fish and whales that can sound a bit like tapping.
The noises have been described as banging noises, but again, they have to put the whole picture together in context, and they have to eliminate potential man-made sources other than the Titan.
OceanGate, which runs this expedition, is based in the Seattle area. Tonight, we've learned a former employee mutually settled a lawsuit with that company after being fired for claiming the sub wasn't certified to go so deep. About 36 submersible experts, 36, expressed concern that the design was potentially catastrophic. The world right now, of course, hoping against hope that the sub will be found and these 5 people brought to safety. Let's get to some new details about the Army specialist who allegedly opened fire at a campground next to the Gorge Amphitheater over the weekend. Court documents say the suspect may have been hallucinating after taking mushrooms. 26-year-old James Kelly appeared in court today in Grant County. He told investigators he was hallucinating and thought the world was ending. He then allegedly grabbed a gun from his car and shot his girlfriend, then 3 others. 2 women from Seattle who were engaged to be married were killed. Jocelyn Ruiz and Brandy Escamilla were nurses, according to a family attorney. They tried to intervene before shots were fired. Kelly's girlfriend and a father from Eugene survived. Authorities say Kelly also fired at a police drone before a deputy shot him. We are headed into day 4 now of a 5-day strike for nearly 2,000 workers at Providence hospitals, with nurses and clinicians from Portland all the way to Seaside asking for higher wages and better benefits. Mike Benner talked to some of those nurses about their priorities.
Late Wednesday morning outside Providence Seaside, the honks coming from passing vehicles are a sign of the love the coastal community has for the nurses and clinicians on day 3 of a 5-day strike.
The support has been amazing from the community. Amazing.
Ingrid Betcher handles triage and wound care at Providence Seaside. She's one of the approximately 1,800 nurses and clinicians from that hospital, Providence Portland Medical Center, and Providence Home Health and Hospice, who walked off the job Monday.
We want to be in there, and some of our wound care patients have driven by today and say, we are going to need you next week.
We are really a family here.
Roxanne Welch is another nurse on the picket line outside Providence Seaside, a hospital she's called home for nearly 2 decades.
19 and a half years here, and I want everybody to have parity and equal opportunity in the hospital, which the clinic nurses do not have.
Welch and her colleagues want higher wages and better benefits. Providence officials say they're offering that in the form of additional hours of paid time off and a 12% raise. But judging by this caravan through downtown Seaside, nurses and clinicians aren't pleased, nor are people we met on the street.
Well, I don't think they get paid enough.
Nehalem resident Tammy Hampton hopes the men and women on strike get what they want and return to work. The last thing Hampton wants is another strike, yet again impacting the hospital closest to her.
So I don't want to drive 30, 50 miles to go to one, so it's just one of those things.
Providence officials argue that even though the hospital in Seaside is operating at only 50% capacity, all is good. After all, Providence did bring in replacement nurses to cover for those walking the picket line. But as those nurses and clinicians will tell you, it's just not the same.
we're going to go back on Monday, and we're going to do what we do best, be nurses.
I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, the Beaverton School District plans to retain armed police officers in schools. On Tuesday, the school district unanimously approved extending the School Resource Officer, or SRO, program. Opponents say it could make students feel intimidated or threatened. Right now, Beaverton has 12 officers stationed across its schools. In Lebanon, for the second time in a month, thieves have hit a fire station. You might remember back in late May, somebody broke into a fire investigation trailer at Station 33 in Fairview. They made off with tools, lights, and cameras. And then this past weekend, thieves stole a pickup truck from another station. The truck belongs to the Benton County Shops, which provides vehicle and maintenance services for the fire district. If you have any information, call the Lynn County Sheriff's Office. And Legacy's Mount Hood Birth Center in Gresham has officially reopened. Legacy shut it down in March without state approval. At the time, administrators blamed a staffing shortage and fewer babies being born there. The community pushed back. The state jumped in. Legacy says the birth center, the only one of its kind in East County, will now be staffed around the clock. New tonight, the death of a Portland teenager has spurred a change in State Department rules. The federal government announcing today the Fallon Smart policy. Now, Smart was killed in a hit and run in 2016. The suspected driver was a Saudi national who was attending college in Portland. Before he could stand trial, he disappeared. U.S. officials believe the Saudi government helped him get out of the country and escape the charges. The new policy in Smart's namesake creates restrictions on visas for foreign government officials who help fugitives flee the U.S.